Good morning, everybody. Pastor Rick here, Broadman Baptist Church. This is Wednesday, May 5th, 2021. This is the Broadman Word coming to you today out of the devotional Radical Wisdom. And I want to talk to you about nourishment. I'm sure we've all had a good, healthy meal at some point. Maybe not the things that we would most like to eat, but things that are good for us and filling. And our body felt good about it, your mind felt good about it, and you were nourished, and it was satisfying. And, you know, that is not the thing that we need to always focus on. There are lots of different kinds of nourishment, and our soul is one of those things that needs nourishment. And in order for us to, be fulfilled as people, be who we are supposed to be, we need to have nourished souls as well. And it's not the easiest thing to think about. We don't typically equate nourishment with our spirituality, but it is a very real thing. We need to spend time and consideration and make some plans to have our soul nourished. And I'm talking about the person that you are without the body, the person that God knew and loved before he put skin on you, the person who is eternal, who will survive death and live on in eternity. That person needs to be nourished because it's very important for what you're doing here and now, who you are here and now, and what you do while you're here as part of your legacy. Not building a resume. That would be the good meal, the resume, the now, the feeling good right now. The legacy would be the nourished soul, because that's going to determine the ultimate effect that you have on the kingdom. And of course, that's why we're here, to serve God, to love and honor God, and to bring as many to the kingdom as we can so that none will perish. That's God's desire. But we need to be capable of doing that, and you wouldn't go into a battle injured or sick or diseased or anything like that. That would not be smart. You would soon be dispatched, right? So you don't want to go out into your day unnourished. You don't want to go out into the battle of the darkness unnourished. And so we're going to talk about that for just a second. There's two ways that I know of for nourishment. Worship, that's a big word. But worship is more than just a single act. It's a state of mind. It is a state of being, a worshipful state of being where you have taken time to line yourself up and consecrate. That just simply means to make sacred, meaning in God's will, to consecrate your day, what it is you're going to do. Even the simplest of tasks can be God-honoring things and nourishing to you because you're doing those things God's way and in his will. So it's important for us to take time as part of our worshipful state of being to consecrate ourselves and the things that we're going to do in any given day. And so they can be, one, effective in the kingdom, effective for our purposes in the kingdom, and two, they could be nourishing to us. And then another act of worship is intentionality. When you're intentional about your worship, you're planning it's part of your day, it's a thing, it's a measurable, palpable thing to you that you can accomplish. That sort of worship is a nourishing thing, because then you're not just out in the world as another body. You're just not part of the noise. You're just not part of the frailly human things going on in a day. You're out there nourished, ready for whatever might come and able to handle it in the will of God. And so that way, even the most mundane of days can be nourishing because you did it the way you were supposed to, and it can be nourishing to you. The other thing is to serve. When you forget about that enormous to-do list that you have, and you just simply take time to help someone, meaning that you've served God by helping another, there is a physical change inside of you. There is a spiritual gain. There is a spiritual maturity that comes with it, but there's a physical nourishment that also comes about you, as well as a spiritual nourishment. It's because you feel good about having done something in the will of God. You went beyond yourself, beyond the myopic sort of box that the world tries to put around your day and fill it up with endless series of survival tasks, basically, just simply existing in the darkness. When you stop and you actually intentionally serve another human being for no other reason than it's what you're supposed to do according to the will of God, when that happens, there is a spiritual nourishment that translates into actual physical feelings of nourishment. And these things, these worshiping and these serving things, are important to your overall spiritual health because they make you stronger through the exercise of worship, the intentionality of worship, and through the serving. Jesus was a servant king. He came not to rule as a king. He will someday come back and rule the new heaven and new earth. But he came first as a servant. The Son of Man came to serve. And when we emulate that, when we serve in ministry and we serve even specifically outside of ministry and we focus on one human being that needs us, whatever that might be, there is a gain to not just them, but to yourself. And so just the simple act of doing what God had told us to do and acting in his will, considering others more important than yourself. It's difficult to explain why it happens, but when you serve someone, when you put their needs first, you'll get nourished. So don't let the world burn you out. Don't let the world chip away at your spiritual nourishment until you're spiritually hungry, maybe even spiritually deprived, and Lord help us all, those few that get spiritually homeless. That's a sad thing that can happen. But through worshiping and serving, we can stave off these things and remain spiritually full and spiritually growing, spiritually mature, and spiritually nourished. So ask yourself, how healthy is your soul? I hope that all of you have accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, so you've got that guarantee of eternity with him. But how healthy are you? How healthy is your soul? And then will you try intentional worship and intentional serving to make yourself as spiritually healthy as you can be, so that you can then become the thriving, effective Christian that God intended you to be, fulfilled in the kingdom? I hope you can take some time today and ponder this and make some plans, because it will be not only to the betterment of the kingdom, but it'll be to a better you. And don't we all really want to be a better us, right? Listen, I love you. I hope you have a wonderful day in the Lord, and I'll talk to you next time.